All right, welcome to the beginning of chapter 6. I'm pretty excited about this chapter. This chapter is on continuous integration and continuous deployment. This is something that I do a lot at work, but I've never really had a kind of a formal book to go over. It's always been kind of a learn as you go, some training from the more senior people or on the fly, doing a tutorial, something like that. So to have an actual guided book go over this, I think is going to be hugely beneficial. And I think a lot of the things this book will cover upon, I will have already kind of dived into, and in some cases just kind of gotten frustrated and moved on. So yeah, let's dive right into it. So the author of this section is Noah. Last section, I forget what the author's name was, but this is going to be a new author. The practices of continuous integration and continuous deployment are essential to a modern software development lifestyle process. A CI, continuous integration system, clones the code base for the software under consideration from a source control system, such as GitHub, and builds the software into an artifact that can be a binary, a tar archive, or a Docker image. And very importantly, also runs unit and or integration tests for the software. A CD, continuous deployment system, deploys the artifacts built by the CI system to a target environment. So let's slow this down a little bit, and we're gonna actually go ahead and draw this out. I can just, let me hand draw this because I want to make this clear. Oops, but my, let's see here, Sketchup. I think Sketchup wasn't working for me recently for some reason. Okay, it seems to be working now. It was giving me a lot of trouble on my tablet though recently, but let's just see if we can use it. But I want to maybe not exactly take notes. You wouldn't really call it taking notes, but what I want to do is just kind of write this down so that it's really clear. As I did when I reported the RFC errata, I think sometimes if you just put it down, write it down, you don't have to keep it straight in your head, and you can just see plain as day what's going on. So I want more signal and I want less noise. So let's try to get some signal. Okay, and it looks like I can't use this because I'm signed in. Oh, perfect. Okay. Yeah, I found out how to sign out, so... Oh, but it automatically signs me in whenever I... What if I do an incognito tab? Okay, that seems to work. If I just do an incognito tab, it doesn't automatically sign me into my account, even though I was signed out. So... 9... WD... NW.4.1. Okay, finally. Oh my god. So yeah, so there's two things. There's continuous deployment and there's continuous integration, and they're separate things. So you can't really draw a Venn diagram. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to draw two circles here. And they're not going to be overlapping because they're not the same thing. So this is continuous integration, and this is continuous deployment. So let's write some of the things that are true about continuous integration. So continuous integration clones the database for the software under consideration from a source control system such as GitHub So clones from source control, we'll write that in there. Okay. Builds the software into an artifact that can be a binary, a tar archive, or a Docker image. So I would call that compiles. So I think that's just another word for compiling. So we'll say compiles. And let's look up the word compile just to make sure I'm getting that right. I looked for complies instead of compiles. There we go. Yeah, so converts a program into machine code or low-level form in which the program can be executed. So I think that's right. We're converting it into a binary, a TIE archive, Docker image, something that's not the source code and that runs at a lower level. Okay, so yeah, compiles. So what else does continuous integration do? Okay, and very importantly, also runs unit and/or integration tests for the software. Okay, so continuous integration clones from source control. It also does versioning because of that. Well, it doesn't necessarily do that. Your source control is separate from that, but continuous integration clones it from that, where you're doing all that sort of thing. It also compiles your code to make it runnable on other systems or with other applications. And finally, it's where you do testing for your code. Your automated testing is done using the practice of continuous integration. So the next part of this development life cycle, continuous integration and continuous deployment, is continuous deployment. A lot of times you'll see this, and I don't have my, okay, there it is. A lot of times you'll see this written as CI-CD, especially in like job applications. So I bet you if I just Google, so see we've got that all over any DevOps, a lot of technical jobs. You'll see that. So that's what they're talking about, what we're learning in this chapter right here. A CD system deploys the artifacts built by the CI system to a target environment. So let's write that down. We're going to write down deploys. Okay. This deployment can be automated for non-production environments, but usually includes a manual approval step for production. So so we'll have we'll make another bullet point here, and we'll say code reviews. We'll say manual code reviews. And I'm sure there's a way you can make your manual code reviews a little bit nicer using some sort of concept from this book. You can make it easier to manually review code, highlighting, that sort of thing can be a part of the continuous deployment process, because those manual code reviews will occur at that point in the cycle. A more advanced type of such systems is a continuous delivery platform. which automates the deployment step to production and is capable of rolling back the deployment based on metrics obtained from monitoring and logging platforms. Wow, okay, that's cool. So, okay. So we already have it deploys, but it also so I'm going to make one more point on here, and it's going to be rollbacks. So that's another thing. So when you're doing continuous integration, you're cloning your code down from a separate source control like GitHub, something like that. You're compiling your code to whatever you need it to be, and then you're testing your code. And this happens once, and then when you're done, you move on to the next part, which is continuous deployment, where you deploy the code. You have some sort of manual review process if you want to make sure before you deploy it that it looks good. And then here you can do rollbacks as well. So pretty easy. Integration, deployment, those are pretty good terms to describe this cycle, unlike some network engineering terms that I've encountered it in some of my other series. This is a pretty good explanation of what this concept is. All right, so real world case study: converting a poorly maintained WordPress site to Hugo. A while back, a family asked where did I get a family from? I've probably blended FR with company, so I saw this whole thing, and I chunked it together, and I said family because I read friend and company mixed up. But anyways, let's just keep moving on. A while back, a friend asked for a favor fixing their company website. The company sold very expensive used scientific equipment, and its inventory was served via a WordPress site that was frequently hacked, performed horribly, or was down for days. Okay, I'll be back. I need a glass of water. I'm going to be reading out loud. Alright, I'm back. Typically, I try to avoid getting sucked into projects like this, but since it was a friend, I decided to help. You can reference the code for the conversion project at this Git repository. Each step of the conversion process is covered in the GitHub repo. The steps include backup, convert, upgrade, deploy. Note: the story had a funny ending. After creating a bulletproof tank of a website that had incredible performance, security, auto deployment, and incredible search engine optimization, SEO, it ran for years with zero vulnerabilities or downtime. Long after I had forgotten about the project, I got a text from my friend. It had been a couple years since I had last talked with him. He said the website was down and he needed my help. I texted back to him to ask how this was possible. It is running off Amazon S3, which has so this is something you'll hear in the it's kind of a jargon term where they say the number of nines after the period. So we've got 3, 6. So this is 9 nines. So you would hear this called 9 nines of uptime. In industry jargon, which is really good. I think there's actually a company where I originally was from that is named after their goal for uptime, and their goal is only 5 nines. So 9 nines is really good. 5 nines is only 5 minutes and 26 minutes. Sorry, 5 minutes and 26 seconds of a service being down in a single year. So 9 nines is going to be far less than that. I wish I knew the math to determine 9 nines downtime. Here we go. So here's the math for high availability. Let's see what the equation actually is. I don't see if there's an equation or anything. I mean, it's probably, it's just the percentage of time. So you just take the number of minutes in a year, and then you times that by, so there's 300 here. I can just do it without even knowing, like, and let's see if I get the same answers they've got there. So we've got 365 days in a year, right? Then we've got each day is 24 hours, so we'll times that by 24. And then each hour has 60 minutes, so we'll times that by 60. So this is the number of minutes there are in a year, which seems low. Like, honestly, this seems really, really low. But we can see our work, the calculator saved it, so we've got 365 days in a year. We've got 24 hours in a year, and we've got 60 minutes in an hour. So this is it. Use your time valuable. Don't let it slip away from you, because that is far fewer minutes than I imagine there being in a year. But yeah, so now there's even less than that in a year as I'm continuing to go off track. So this here is what you would multiply by the percent to get the downtime. So 99.999, so 5 nines actually, 9 nines actually refers to the numbers before the decimals. So this is actually 11 nines here. Huge. Yeah, this is 11 nines. But let's see if we get the same answer for 5 nines. So I'm gonna save this number so I don't lose it. Okay. And then we want 99.999% of this number. So we're going to multiply this times 0.9999. Oh, one more 9. 5 nines. Because it's 99% is just a way of saying 99 out of 100. So this is how that is done. Okay, so here's our number. It's going to be less than the number we had. So to get our actual number of downtime, we've got to subtract our original number, or we've actually got to subtract this number from our original number to get the downtime. Another thing you can do is, instead of doing 9999, so you can do 1 minus 0.99999. Okay, and now you can multiply it by this number instead, because then you get the number of minutes that's downtime instead of the number of minutes that is uptime. If you multiply it by 0.99999, then the answer you get is the number of minutes in which the service is up during a year. But we want to know the number of minutes in which the service is down for a year, and the incidence of that happening is 0.001%. So we've got to multiply it by 0.00001 in decimal when we convert percent to decimal. this is the answer we get. Because decimal percent is just out of 100, so 99.999 divided by 100 is that. It's but this is yeah, this is the uptime. We want the downtime. So the downtime is going to be not 99.999 over 100. The downtime is 0.001. This is the percent downtime that we have. So that divided by 100 gives us this number. Okay, so now if I were to multiply this by the original 525,600. Okay, so let's see if this is the same answer. So 5 minutes and 26 seconds. That's what I got, rounded up. So my math is right. Let's see what it's like for this number. They've got 11 nines here. Okay, so 11 nines. Let's do 1 minus, because we want the downtime, so the 11 nines is the value of the uptime. So to get the value of the downtime, we need the percentage of time in which it's going to be down, which is I guess I sometimes I have trouble. I'm sure everyone does, like putting math into words. Because it's, a lot of the times it's just learned and taught as symbols that have properties and can be used in certain ways, and converting that symbolism into English is sometimes not super easy. Okay, so 8, 9, 10, 11. There we go. Times our original number. This is if we had a uptime of 100%, we'd have this number, but fortunately our uptime is, if we had an uptime of 100%, this is the number of minutes that our service would be running per year. We don't have an uptime of 100%, but we have an uptime of 11 nines. So let's see what our downtime is. So our downtime, that doesn't even seem right. Okay, yeah, so we're measuring it in milliseconds. Yeah, and that's for 9 nines. This is 11 nines. So yeah, milliseconds per year. That's just, yeah. He texted back that he had recently converted it back to WordPress because it was easier to make changes. I laughed and told him I wasn't a good fit for his project. As they say, no good deed is left unpunished. But in my mind, that's, it's a valid concern, because I've been there like many times. Like, and I just, in my last video, 2 videos ago, I said, like, I'm not comfortable using Visual Studio. Like, I'm sure like a pro who's been using it for, every day for the last year and knows every little tweak and optimization and everything, and has it fine-tuned to their own environment, loves it and loves it for a good reason. But if you just took that and dumped it on me, like I don't know, I don't have that same kind of experience and knowledge. So though it's better and it's a better way to use it, like if I can't use it, it's not better for me. So like I'm pretty sympathetic with his friend here converting it back to WordPress to make it easier to make changes. And I think that's one of the more important things you can do, is just develop a process of doing something that is easy to follow and that is kind of foolproof. Because you gotta, it's not just about making the it's not just about like, here he set it up. He had incredible performance, security, auto deployment, incredible search engine optimization, but you've got to be a tech guru to get it to work. So it's not just about that. If you want a system to be more reliable, you've got to have the people who have their fingers on the button and who have the ability to make it unreliable, operating in a way that they can do so reliably. So if you put somebody in a situation where, okay, great, it's running great now, but I need to do this, and you change everything on me and I don't know what to do now, they're going to break things. It's just, that's a really important thing, is to have a, even if it's automated, you still need a manual process if you're automated, because what if the automation breaks down? What are people going to do then? So and then what does the automation do? Like, you need to develop that manual process anyway in order to have automation. So you might as well just make that manual process known and public and documented, instead of just relying on the automation without explaining to anyone what the automation actually does. Putting it behind just like putting it out of sight, out of mind. I think let's just keep reading, because hopefully he'll have some good insights based on this experience. Some of the, God damn it. It sounds like he's just going to gloss over this and not talk about this. Some of the requirements I considered were: it needed to be continuously deployed, it needed to be fast and run and develop against, it should be a static site hosted from a cloud provider, there should be a reasonable workflow for converting from WordPress, it should be possible to create a reasonable search interface using Python. In the end, I decided to use Hugo, AWS, and Algola. The general architecture looked like figure 6-1. So yeah, this is like, okay, it sounds like he's just going to gloss over this human side. And in my experience, like, you can do that. And of course, there's people who are just naturally better at the human side than others. I'm definitely somebody who struggles with that. So I wish he would have kind of not just glossed over that and talked more about how his perfect system has been converted, why it was converted, what it means that it's easier to make changes. Talk about that process. Did his process make it more difficult to make changes? Did he explain how to make changes? Did he look at the old process and say, if you think it's easier to make changes with that old process, well, here's what you were doing and here's what you need to do. Before you needed to do 10 steps, now you only need to do 5 steps, and you're saying that your old way was easier. Well, not only is it more steps, you don't get performance, you don't get security, you don't get auto deployment, you don't get search engine optimization. You don't have vulnerabilities or downtime. So not only is it more steps, you also get less bang for your buck. So, let's talk about how, where using this new system was considered more difficult, less easy than using the old system, because clearly it's not the number of steps. Is there any step that is unclear? How can I explain this to you? I mean, I guess at the same time, he's just helping out a friend, but this is something that, the human side of IT is something that is, I think, important. You can't just sweep it under the rug and just say, I built you, this brilliant thing and you didn't use it, and it's because you're stupid. It might not be. It might be because your brilliant thing is just over the head of everyone else, and you didn't think about the human side, and nobody knows how to use it because you didn't tell anybody how to use it. So I wish he would have talked about this, but unfortunately it looks like he's just gonna gloss it over and keep going. But it looks like he does have a nice architecture diagram. So let's read this. So WordPress to Hugo conversion. So flaky WordPress site. So it looks like the first thing he did to convert it to Hugo was export the database tied to the old WordPress site. He exported it into JSON data. Then he ran a Python script to convert product listings to Python files. Then he used a Hugo site generator to 1, create search index from posts, and 2, sync the search index. Next, he used Algolia SaaS search engine, and then there's no more arrows. So it looks like okay. So is that the continuous integration strategy? And then does he have it separated out? See, already, I'm not surprised his friend he was helping abandoned his system, because this doesn't make any sense. I get you start here, and then they don't tie into each other. It does. He's not explaining very well where to start on this and why there's 2 places to start. Is there a place to start for the continuous integration cycle, and a separate place to start for the continuous development cycle? Why are there 2 separate places where there is no initial arrow pointing to it? So this is already kind of, I'm sympathizing more with his friend than him, because this architecture diagram just really is unclear. Okay, but the next starting point says GitHub. Oops, and I lost my place. I think I did move my bookmark up though. Oops, no, I think I took my bookmark away and never moved it. So I don't have a bookmark. I do have a location that I saved, so I can just, okay, here we go. All right, perfect. So I'll add my bookmark now. Okay, and let's read the second part. Oops, and it looks like I can't bookmark anymore. For some reason, when I click on it, it doesn't do anything. So it looks like I lost the ability to bookmark. Yeah, I just permanently lost the ability to bookmark. Okay, well, let's do highlighting then. We're gonna highlight this next section, and then we'll use that as our bookmark instead, since I lost the ability to bookmark for some reason. Okay, but the next starting point in this general architecture diagram is GitHub. Commit event triggers build and checkout. Then we have the AWS code pipeline which goes up to the Hugo site generator, then over to the update index in the Algoa SaaS search engine. And then it syncs files to S3, update CDN, Content Delivery Network, for Amazon S3. And then it goes to Amazon CloudFront CDN. Okay, so next section is setting up Hugo. And I will remove this highlight because it's a false highlight. Getting started with Hugo is very straightforward. See the Getting Started Hugo guide. First, install the software. On my OS X machine, I did it this way. So I don't have OS X, but let's just do Hugo in a VM. Okay, and I'm going to see this. No, I just permanently lost the ability to bookmark. Okay, so we're going to put a highlight here and use that as the bookmark. Let me try refreshing to see if I can regain that ability to bookmark. Oh, perfect. Okay, I have the ability to bookmark back. So I don't have Brew, but I do have this here. Let's actually get rid of this because I don't like how it installs NetMiko every time. I'm not using NetMiko, so we'll get rid of this. And then we'll spawn in just a regular server. So we'll spawn in a Ubuntu Docker guest, yeah. Okay. Perfect. So we've got an Ubuntu Docker guest here. Let's see if I got internet on here. Network is unreachable. Okay, and this is why our interface is shut down. So let's fix that. Alright, so that was working. I'm not sure why it's not working anymore. I wish I had saved the interface I was connected to. Because maybe EN01 is not the correct interface. Okay, so I guess we'll just go through and try some of the other interfaces. Another thing we can do is TCP dump. And then we're going to look for okay, so we'll do a TCP dump and we'll just search on an interface, ETH0. What the heck, we're getting stuff on ETH0. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting to get anything on ETH0. Let's do this. We're gonna do TCP dump filter And we only want traffic that is for DHCP. Okay, here we go, perfect. Okay, so now if we've got the right connection, we will see some traffic, DHCP traffic actually coming in. Okay, I don't see anything on there. Let's try another link. Still nothing. Alright, still nothing. So let's move it back to the first one, and then we'll try rebooting the machine. Okay, and I won't be able to do the TCP dump because I'm going to lose my CLI. Okay, so rebooting it got me started here. Perfect. Okay, so let's. Okay, and I got my bookmarks back, so I don't need this. So we're gonna need to get Hugo. So let's see if we can use apt-get to get Hugo. I think I'll need to update first. Perfect. If you are on another platform, you can follow instructions here. To verify things are working, run Hugo version. So I probably should install or follow the instructions, but we'll just try to power through. If something doesn't work, then I will look at the instructions. Which is a horrible way to do it. Let's just open them and see if there's anything that pops out. I don't see anything. Okay, so it's installed. Let's check the version. So I've got version 0.16. They've got version 0.47. The only thing left to do is to initialize a skeleton Hugo app and install a theme. Okay, congratulations, your new Hugo site is created in root quick start. This creates a new site called Quick Start. You can build this site again very quickly by running Hugo. This compiles the markdown files to HTML and CSS, converting WordPress to Hugo posts. Next, I converted the WordPress database to JSON via a raw dump. Then I wrote a Python script to convert this data to Hugo posts in markdown format. Here is that code. Conversion of code of old database fields into markdown example. If you did a database dump of WordPress, and then converted it to JSON, you could tweak this. So here's the code he used. Oh, quite a bit of code. And from new picture products, import pictures. So and from category, import cat. So it's using a code base I don't have access to, so we'll just look over it a little bit. Oh, he's using percents too, which is so ridiculous. Okay. Alright, and it's a lot of code. Unfortunately, I can't copy and paste from here either. That's too bad. Okay, so fortunately I can't really look over this. It doesn't preserve white space. It doesn't allow for copying and pasting. It doesn't show the correct formatting. So let's just keep on reading. Next section is creating an Algolia index and updating it with the database products converted to markdown posts. The next step is to write some Python code that creates an Algolia index and syncs it. Algolia is a great tool to use because it quickly solves the search engine problem and has nice Python support as well. This script crawls through all of the markdown files and generates a search index that can be uploaded to Algolia. Creates a very simple JSON index for Hugo to import into Algolia. Easy to extend. Might be useful to run this on content directory to remove spaces for F in, okay. And this is another just huge example. Looks like I can run this example, but it's just going to be too much to type at this time. So, and I don't have these files here, products, total, index.json. So we're just going to skim through it really fast. Okay, and then move right away to the next section. Okay, so finally the index can be set to Algoa with this snippet. Orchestrating a makefile. Using a makefile allows you to replicate the steps your deployment process will use later. I typically set up a makefile to orchestrate this locally. Here's what the entire build and deploy process looks like. So build. Okay, move our public Hugo, watch, clean, Hugo, server-w. Alright, so I'm not going to highlight this or keep it because I don't really think I'm going to be using anything like this soon. So next section is deploying with AWS Code Pipeline. Amazon Web Services, AWS, is a common deployment target for hosting a static website via Amazon S3, Amazon Route 53, and Amazon CloudFront. AWS Code Pipeline, their build server service, works very well as the deployment mechanism for these sites. You can log into AWS Code Pipeline, set up a new build project, and tell it to use a buildspace.yml file. The code can be customized and the portions that are templated out can be replaced with actual values. As soon as GitHub gets a change event, Code Pipeline runs the install in a container. First it grabs the specific version of Hugo specified. Next it builds the Hugo pages. Thousands of Hugo pages can be rendered sub-second because of the speed of Go. Finally, the HTML pages are synced to Amazon S3. Because this is running inside of AWS and is synced, it is also extremely fast. The final step is that CloudFront is invalidated. Okay, so we'll just skip over this again. Unfortunately, I wish I could do it all, but it's just not. Yeah, it's a real world case study, so I don't have any of these files to follow along with. Okay, so might be at a pretty good stopping point here. It's just a lot to do. So yeah, we're going to stop here. So I'll see you in the next video, which will be another real world case study deploying a Python App Engine application with Google Cloud build.